I don't know about you, but I have a love and hate relationship with our increasingly virtual world. Don't get me wrong, I do love the flexibility of being able to work from anywhere, but I'm starting to feel like it's creating more work for everyone and that we are losing something vital. Imagine a future where most of us are digital nomads, working on our own projects, but in real life we got so busy digging our heads into the monitors, our favorite store are closing, and it's just full of cafe with people working on their screens 24/7 and get fewer opportunity to connect, bond, and build relationships. This isn't just about personal well-being, it has an implication for our economy as well. So today, let's explore what social capital is, why it is so important, and how it could play a crucial role in city planning. Have you ever wondered what really holds a communities together? Is it just a shared space, or is there something more? Social capital refers to the network of relationship among people who live and work in a particular society, enabling that society to function effectively. It is the glue that fosters trust, cooperations, and mutual support. In simple terms, social capital is about the value that comes from our social connections. Whether it's borrowing a cup of sugar from your neighbor or getting a job referral from a friend, it's not just about what you know, but who you know. These connections bring benefits that go beyond the individual, reaching into the economic, social, and political field. When we talk about social capital, it's actually pretty hard to define because there isn't a unified understanding, and it really just depends on who you ask. There are three figures that give out the main definition of social capital we are talking about. Pierre Bourdieu, a French sociologist, describes social capital as the sum of resources that accrue to an individual or group by virtue of possessing a durable network of relationships. For him, social capital is deeply tied to power and class. Another key figure is James Coleman. He views social capital from a rational choice perspective. He saw it as a public good, where individuals contribute to a collective benefit. Think of a neighborhood watch where everyone gains from increased security. Then we have Robert Putnam, who popularized the concept in political science. He defined social capital as the features of social organizations, which is networks, norms, and trust. Each definition offers a unique perspective, but all emphasize the powers of social networks. But is social capital always a force for good? Let's dive into that next. Can social capital really solve all our problems, or is there a dark side to this seemingly positive concept? Of course, social capital isn't without its constraints. One major challenge is that social capital isn't evenly distributed. Not everyone has the same access to networks or the ability to build beneficial relationships, which can lead to inequalities. Some groups are more connected while others are left out. Moreover, high levels of social capital within certain groups can reinforce exclusion and create barriers to social mobility. Think about cliques or exclusive clubs operating on a who-you-know basis. That can prevent outsiders from accessing opportunities. And let's not forget that tiny-knit network can sometimes foster corruption and enable organized crime. So while social capital can be incredibly beneficial, it's essential to recognize and manage its potential downsides. But where there are challenges, there are also solutions, right? So what exactly makes up social capital? Is it just about who you know, or is there more to it? Social capital can be broken down into three main dimensions: structural, cognitive, and relational. Structural social capital refers to the actual network and connections between people, the tangible aspect that can be mapped and measured. The second is cognitive social capital, involve the shared norms, values, and attributes that facilitate cooperation within a community. It's about the shared understanding that helps people work together. And lastly, relational social capital is about the quality of relationship. It's trust, reciprocity, and the obligation people feel toward one another. This is the emotional or affective component. These components interact in a complex way, creating the social fabric that supports communities. When they are strong, they enable cooperation and mutual support. But when they are weak or imbalanced, division and conflicts can arise. So the question is, how do we strengthen these components? Let's think about that as we move forward. Let's talk about two important concepts within social capital: bonding and bridging. Bonding social capital refers to the relationships that we have with people who are similar to us. Our close-knit networks are like families, close friends and others who share our backgrounds or interests. Bonding capital is great for support and solidarity, but it can also lead into insularity and exclusion. On the other hand, bridging social capital involves connections that span different social groups. These weaker ties link us to people who are different from us, perhaps in the term of race, class, or profession. Bridging capital is crucial for creating inclusive communities, for fostering innovations and economic growth. Both types of social capitals are important, but in today's increasingly virtual world, we need to be especially mindful for fostering bridging capital. This helps ensure that our communities remain open, inclusive, and dynamic, even as our mode of interaction evolves. How can we apply this in our everyday lives? There's so much to consider. As we've explored, social capital is crucial but often overlooked aspect of city planning. People are feeling more isolated than ever, which can have serious consequences for both individual well-being and the economy. As social organisms, we all have a role in cultivating social capital. At the end of the podcast, I would like to know your thoughts. What are some ways we as individuals can do to contribute to this social capital? Thank you for joining me today. If you find this discussion insightful, don't forget to subscribe and share it with others who might be benefits to it. Until next time, stay connected and let's work together to create the world we dreamed about.